Safest car in the world, when you don't put your seatbelt on, does a lullaby. Doesn't really make sense, does it? Behind me, the EC40 from Volvo, and here comes 10 reasons why you might want to get one. I certainly do. It's an XC40, but it's better. I'm about to conduct a highly scientific experiment that might change your mind about electric cars. Who can go on a long journey in an electric car and get back there and back? And prove having one might not be as stressful as you first thought. Number one, let's do the headline figures. The standard one, cheap one, 260 miles of range, up to this one, the twin motor, 338 miles of range, 300 kilowatt charge speeds, which is brilliant, 0 to 60 of 4.6 seconds, and yeah, that is good. In fact, some of them say 400 miles in the city. That can't surely. But also, the mathematicians watching this will help me with this bit, because this is saying 72% and 180 miles, which means at 100% it would be, so 72. So here's a challenge. Try any electric Volvo and then report back here and tell us you didn't like it. Volvo showed an 8% increase last year when others are not doing so well. Case in point, people like them. 3, it's a car. Look, indicators, vents you can move, you can control the mirrors using a stick, and well, it's cozy in here. Do you know what I mean? It's cozy. These seats are amazing. I almost would go as far as to say I think these seats are slightly better than the XC60 seats. And the reason for that is this little portion here, what you can move for under your knees. Of course, the seats, as you know, are designed by orthopedic surgeons, meaning you can go on very long journeys and never get tired. I know what you're thinking, it's an electric car, you can't, you see, now that's rude. And I'm about to prove that might not be true with a long journey. First stop, some energy at a charger advertised at 300 kilowatts and delivering, less, but they were very nice on the phone. Next, the 110-mile journey, starting with 220 miles and 90%.
Navigating to Horsham.
Horsham is where the rich live and is home to people like Harry Enfield, Holly Willoughby, and Howard Ritchie. Selfish. We should all house share. It's a budget thing. And now we have arrived in Horsham with some very interesting news. The first is that this car now says I have 54%. When we started, it said I'd have 40% when I got here, so it's gained, I don't know, 14%. Now it's saying range is 150 miles, and that means I could get back on a single charge. Who can go on a long journey in an electric car and get back there and back? That's Sussex to Wiltshire. I'm not going to do that. I will put some charge in it. But that is pretty remarkable. With a predicted 16% on arrival home, I decided to test if it would actually get me there without charging. Those are numbers too risky for any other EV that isn't a Teslon. Besides, I was too excited to test out the light show, and I had a feeling the Volvo battery wouldn't let me down. In fact, I have done a lot of long journeys in this, and I have a sense of how the battery works. Compared to a lot of electric cars, this gives me a lot of trust. I feel very confident in the range I've got will be the range that is delivered. And actually the point I'm trying to make here is that even though there is some hassle and some compromises to be made, with something like this I think, oh, do you know what? I actually feel a little bit late to the party with Volvos. It's a bit embarrassing. It's like someone who's just suddenly realised, oh, well, you're just suddenly realising Volvos are good. Well, the reason I say that is that in this particular town where I live, everybody has a Volvo. That's all I see. XC40s in particular. They're everywhere. There has to be a reason for that. There has to be a reason for that. I wonder whether it's the formula, you know, cost versus desirability versus value. Get one of those wrong, mess with the recipe, you're in for disaster. I mean, look at supermarkets. I mean, how much is coffee? A coffee, 12 quid. 12 quid for a jar of coffee? This is frustrating. When I go into reverse, I'm seeing this black bit. What's that? So I'm assuming this is your park distance control, and then this is your camera. But I like it better when it's fully like this. So you can press that, but should that not be the way it is? And obviously you can change the camera there so you can look at that one. I think default, you should be able to do that so you can put it in reverse, see the whole car. One quirky thing about Volvo's roofs, they love reflecting lights at night. Now this is normally harmless, but if you're driving under a motorway bridge and see a flash... No! It's a thing. It's like Volvo's way of keeping you on your toes. Or in therapy.
Don't worry about it.
You might not like the price, but it does have lots of very good features. I would say smarter tech for calmer commutes. Just made that up, mate. Yeah, right, so in-car air purification, for example, you also have this, which I'm going to show you now. They have their own Spotify app. So this is how you log into Spotify using an EC40 or any other Volvo. So you go to this, here we go, pair, and look at that. So now I have my little Wayne Dyer booklet and my library playlists. I think it's only BMW that's had a Spotify. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's only BMW that have had a Spotify app. That is, I love having that. Obviously then there is this. Hey Google, show me charging stations.
Okay, there's InstaVolt charging station 7.6 miles away. Want to navigate there?
Well, if she means charging at the charging station I used earlier, well, the answer would be no. But they were very nice on the phone and voted the most reliable charging network in the UK, so obviously take my experience with a pinch of salt. You get 452 litres of space in here. That's not a great deal. It's 50 litres less than an X3. I don't know what litres means, but here is our gear. So we get everything in there, all your drones and all your everything's good. Or if you go shopping with the price of shopping at the moment, you can get all your week's shopping in there and go, cool, didn't we get a lot? Speaking of space, let's have a look what happens here. Sometimes they do have a front and other times they don't. So this is like a little surprise thing. Hey, there it is. And you would get a very small overnight or a handbag in there, a laptop, it's very dry, bits of carpet, nice place for your cables. Volvo have teamed up with Breathe to slash charging times by up to 30%, boosting performance and preserving battery health. Covered by Volvo's warranty for up to 100,000 miles or 8 years, which is extendable. Surprisingly, insurance for this is just £485 a year, way cheaper than a 2-year-old Model Y. Pilot Assist is worth a mention. I'm going to put it on now by pressing this. I've set it to Pilot Assist, automated. There we go. So now this is basically the car driving itself. You can see the steering wheel moving. I love this. There's so many things about this that's brilliant, and if you've watched more than one of my videos, then you'll know that I love this. It's the... Where are you going, mate? Okay, so this one, strangely, does have a little bit more of a buggy nature than exactly the same system in the XC60, but I need to spend a bit more time with it. It's certainly better than the system they use in the cheaper one of these, which is the XC30. Actually, speaking of better, take Volvo ads, for example. They've always had a little wink. No, don't put that up. In their latest campaign, not only did people happily sit through a 4-minute commercial, but they were left reflecting on, like, the important things. It was like Volvo was saying, hey, sure, we make cars if you want one, but, you know, mostly let's cuddle. Come here. Come on. No Volvo is cheap, and this is no exception. Maybe that's not the point. Maybe the fact that this is expensive. How much is it? Just tell us how much it is. Just tell us. Stop trying to get the retention up. It's £52,887. Whether you lease that or any other type of finance, that's going to be a significant amount per month. For some people, that might not be a problem because it is a high quality item. There is something else as well, that Volvo do a lot of offers, and that affects all finance deals. So for example, they did the XC90 at 10 grand off. I think they did these with 8 grand off, and that filters down into leasing. Here's your noise check. There isn't any. 30 miles an hour, no road noise, very little road noise in this at all. They've made an incredible effort with this. It isn't quite as quiet as, say, something like a T8 XC60, but as we said, this is running on Pirellis and not the special Michelin super quiet tyres, which is another thing. I wonder whether this car is for a certain generation. Generally, well, I think this car's for everybody, but I think it's also, bearing in mind, for a certain generation. I don't want a screen. I want it to be like a car. If you're going to make me change and tell me what I must drive around in, please make it like a car. How are we getting on then? How have I done in this experiment so far? Have I tempted you just a little bit? Sure, electric cars are still a bit annoying, and I agree with most of the fare, but let's be honest, very lucrative YouTube commentary channels. Show me the money! The issue here is clear. The consumer doesn't dislike EVs. The consumer dislikes being told when and what to drive. So, expensive? Yes. Good? Extremely. One of my favourite cars, probably in the world now. But, and as actually, if you are thinking about getting one for a business or there's a tax implication, then maybe cost isn't so much of an issue. And there might well be other reasons that this could be cheaper in the future. But if you are on a budget, I think you should watch this video next, which is the EX30.